Hey, what's going on, guys? Ray here. I just want to welcome you to the very first episode of our sprint car build series. Today we are going to be assembling the motor start to finish. You're going to see me deburring the parts, gluing the parts together, painting the parts, detailing the parts, and as you can see here, we have all the parts laid out. It's a really nice kit. I'm going to be going over the kit as a whole once the series is all finished, my thoughts on the kit just in general. And here we got the instructions. They give you lots of flexibility, lots of wiggle room to make this sprint car your own, make it how you want it to be. And this is me in front of a sprint car that I drove at Wilmot Raceway. That's what got me wanting to build this kit. And here we go, guys. Hope you enjoy. So what I'm doing here is I am deburring all the plastic pieces that I had to cut off the kit. Sometimes in the plastic cast, you just get some burred parts. So this is all I'm doing here. I'm just deburring some of these parts before gluing and painting. All right, and here we are going to be gluing the headers. They give you two sets of headers, either Ford or Chevy. These are the Chevy. And now we are gluing the water bottle here, or the coolant bottle, I should say. I really wish this bottle had a little bit more of a better fit. There were some gaps, but overall, it wasn't too bad. And here we are gluing the block together. And I apologize for the goofy kind of hand angles here. I did just recently purchase a gooseneck, so the next video we do, it's going to have a much better angle, more of a first-person view. Alright, so this here is the oil pump that's going to go on the front of the motor. What I'm doing is I'm laying down a base coat of silver, because the next coat I'm going to be putting on here is like a transparent color. And here we have the valve covers painted semi-gloss black. We got just a lot of our base coats going on right here, because you'll see what we are going to be doing as this video goes on. Just giving you some angle of the block as it currently sits. It's going to change quite a bit. Alright, we got some transparent red, and this is going to be for the oil pump. And I might be throwing some reference pictures in here just to give you a better idea of what I was going for here. But I did like how it turned out. But as you can see later on, you'll see that it's a little too glossy for what I'd like. Alright, now on the stacks here, we are going with a transparent blue. I had to go over these quite a few times because that transparent blue just kept showing a little too much silver through. So I had to go over these, let it dry a little bit, and then give it another coat just to really get that blue on there. But it also did, the silver underneath did really make it pop a little bit. And here we go, getting some of that, more of that transparent blue on some of the fittings now. This was a very tedious process. This was very tedious trying to get the blue on here, and the next one's going to be gold, I believe, is what I'm going to be putting on here. But just for the fittings, it's you had to be really steady just to get all of those fittings and not overlap onto the red, or try not to overlap onto the other silver where the gold is going to go. And this is where you could really use a fine tip paintbrush. Here we go. We got some. We got the freeze plugs going on there. Just decided to add a little more detail. And we got the gold, pretty much brass. You got these brass fittings here that are going like it's a clamp almost, but it's for the hoses, for the oil cooler hoses. Alright, now we are going to be gluing on the valve covers. And like I said, in the instructions, they really didn't give you, they didn't say what type of colors to be painting any of this. I just really went off of a lot of reference photos. And now we're going to be gluing the water tank on. And next, I believe, is the oil filter. Yep. All right, now those are the air cleaners. As you can see here, we're going to have to cut those off, trim them down a bit, and we are going to be deburring those next up here. And you could have left the tops chrome and just painted the elements white. I decided, you'll see here, I decided to paint them red because it turns out a lot of performance type filters are either going to be like a red or a blue. And I actually decided to paint these the semi-gloss black. I just feel like it was going to give it a little more depth to this build. And I really don't like chrome that much, so that was another reason. And there you go, voila. One of the most tedious things is waiting for all this to dry. That's the biggest pain in the butt for this whole thing, is just having to wait the 24 to 48 hours till it all dries up. All right, we got some more transparent blue. Let's see what we're gonna do with this one. Okay, we're just doing a little more of the fittings for some of the ones that we had to wait till the paint dried. When you start getting into more of the different model paints, you realize you can really start to... Oh, so this is what I'm doing here. I felt like it was a little too glossy, so what I'm putting on here is it's a dull coat. It's a clear dull coat, so it's gonna dull it down so it won't be as glossy. And you'll see in some of the reference pictures I'm gonna show the difference, but I actually like how this turned out more than having it so glossy. And here, I was kicking around. So since this is going to be a fantasy build, I'm not building this car after one particular driver. This is a NASCAR contingency sheet. It's called a goodies sheet from, I think, Slicks Racing. But I'm going with the Hendrick Motorsports valve cover decals here. They're water slide decals. You put them in the water, and they'll, after they soften up a little bit, they slide right off. But we're going with Hendrick Motorsports. Since it's going to be a fantasy build, we're going to have a Hendrick powered sprint car motor going in here. And now I'm looking to see what would resemble some sort of small detail of what I could put on the oil filter, just to give a little more detail, make it pop just a little bit. Because unfortunately, this decal package did not have like any wicks filters or any kind of decals like that. And there you go. See, it just slides right off. And again, I apologize, guys, for the bad angle here, but that is going to change the next video. And another reason I just decided to put these decals on, it just adds a little bit more detail that you normally wouldn't get. All right. And just some, I don't even know what decal it is, to be honest, but just wanted to put some decal on there just for some depth, just for a little bit more detail. And it's really starting to come together now, guys. All right, now this is where it starts to get real tedious. The plumbing that comes with this kit is actually really good. Having to do a bunch of different research to figure out what all these wires were, all these lines. I figured out those lines have something to do with the fuel. I don't know if it's fuel induction or if that's the fuel return for the excess fuel. I don't know. But here, this was pretty tough. All right, so we're going to be putting the water pump on here and some of the lines. Now, if you know anything about modeling, you have to shave off some paint on both parts to be able to get the stuff to stick. All right, so now we are going to, here we go. We're getting the oil lines fitted into the oil filter. And some of these lines did not fit exactly like I wanted. It was, I think, just the nature of the beast. Some of these lines were just a little too, what's the word I'm looking for? A little too tense to be able to sit exactly flush of how it should fit. But I think it turned out really well. This was one of the hardest ones, is trying to get all these three to line up just right. Having to put your finger there to make it all work. But yeah, oh man, as this motor was coming together, it's every piece of plumbing, getting everything in its place. It just, I don't know. I just kept looking at it like, man, this is so cool. And we are getting the spark plug wires and all that routed. Put a little glue in each hole. And I thought about painting the wires red, but I don't know. I don't think it would have turned out that well the way these wires were. And now I'm getting really happy with it. All right, so what I'm doing here, this is called a dirty wash. And it's pretty much like, it almost looks like dirty water that you're putting on here, but it really just adds depth to any kind of crease in the parts that you're painting. And you'll see a little before and after. Yeah, the one on the right is with the wash. The one on the left is brand new. So I just feel like, I just wanted to give it a little more depth, a little more realism. And as you can see, the water tank, I did that dirty wash too. And I wish I would have compared the two, but you'll see as we go here, I'm going to pretty much do the wash all over the aluminum block, just because I thought the aluminum was a little too shiny. So I did the wash over the whole thing, and it really added more detail. As I'm doing it, I thought it was kind of looking like crap, but I think the final result actually looked really nice. And here you go. You can just see it just adds all that much more detail in all of the nooks and crannies. Just feel like it gives, maybe adds more depth to the shadows and everything like that. All right, so here's the before. Drum roll, please. There you have it, guys. This is the final product. We are going to be adding a few more details here and there. It was an afterthought. I started looking at some more reference pictures, and I want to add a few more extra details on here, but this is going to do it for the motor. Next up, we're going to be building some custom pieces as far as this chassis and cockpit go of the sprint car. So, if you haven't already, please subscribe, and we are going to have a lot more fun, so I really hope you follow along, and let's get building.